Right, the last video on sinusoidal function transformations, 3.6. We need to figure out what are the values of a, b, and c. So once again, we know that since there is no, sorry, a, b, and d. So since we know that there's no c, it's pretty easy for us to figure out the value of a here. Okay, this is a sine curve, and sine starts from midline and goes up. That is how the parent works, but this is going down. So a has to be a negative value, we know that. Let's figure out the value of b first. So the period is going to be this entire thing till this point, which ends at pi. So the b value will be 2 pi over period. Period is already pi, so the b value is 2. The value of d will be maximum, which is 3, plus minimum, which is negative 1 over 2. So 2 over 2 is just 1, so that is the value of d. And like I said, a should be taken as a negative value. So let's put absolute value of a first, which is maximum 3 minus minimum, which is negative 1 over 2. So 4 over 2 is 2. So absolute value of a is 2, which means that we have to take a as negative 2. So these are the answers, right? This is the value of b, d, and a. Okay, likewise, over here, this resembles the parent cosine because cosine also starts from the top and maximum and goes towards the minimum side. So a should be positive. Let's talk about b first. B is 2 pi over period, and the period is going to be all the way till this point. So 0 to 4 is just 4, right? 2 pi over 4 is pi over 2. Okay, the d value is going to be the maximum 4 plus minimum, which is negative 2 over 2. So 2 over 2 is just 1. And finally, a value, we know it is positive, so skip the absolute value, which is maximum value minus minimum value over 2. So 6 over 2 is just 3. That is the value of a. Here we have to figure out that what is the period and the amplitude. So the period, obviously it starts from here and goes all the way till this point. That is the one cycle. There's one cycle, so the period is pi over 2. So it has to be either c or d. And the amplitude is going to be maximum value minus minimum value divided by 2. So maximum is 4, minimum is negative 2, 6 over 2 is just 3. So it has to be option C. Okay, same question. Period is very easy to figure out. It goes from 0 to 2 pi. That's one cycle. So it has to be either C or D. And isn't the amplitude also just 3? Because, I mean, this is the midline, and from midline it is going to 3 and 3 units here as well. If this doesn't make any sense, then you can just apply maximum minus minimum over 2, which is 6 over 2, which is also 3. So it has to be option C over here. Right, we need to figure out the equation of this sinusoidal curve. I think the cosine will make more sense because just like cosine, although it doesn't really start from maximum, it starts from minimum, but it's fine because it also starts from minimum and goes up. So I can just make the a as a negative value. So I'm going to consider that this function is a cosine b theta plus c, or bx plus c, or plus d, sorry. And why there is no c here? Because like I said, it just resembles the parent except a is negative. Okay, what is the period? Period is all the way till this point. So period is pi over 2. So the value of b is going to be 2 pi over pi over 2. 2 pi over the period, which is going to be pi and pi gone. This 2 jumps up as per keep change flip. So the value of b comes out as 4. The value of d will be maximum, which is 4, um, minus minimum, plus minimum, which is negative 2 over 2. So 2 over 2 is 1. So that's the value of d. And the amplitude, we already agreed that it's negative. But the setup will look like absolute value of a will be equal to maximum plus, minus minimum, over 2. So 6 over 2 is 3, and I should take then a as a negative value, which is negative 3. And that's about it. The equation is going to look like y is equal to negative 3 cos of 4x minus 1. So that is the final answer. Okay, similarly, this I think I'm going to take as a sine curve because it starts from a midline and goes upward, so which resembles the sine parent, and definitely A is positive. So midline, we can just see that it is negative 2, so there is no need to really calculate that. D is negative 2. Period is all the way till this point, which is pi. So the value of b is going to be 2 pi over pi, which is just 2. So the value of b is 2. What is the value of a? We already agreed that it's positive. So that's going to be maximum, which is 0, minus minimum, which is negative 4 over 2. So the value of a is 2. So the answer is going to be y is equal to 2 sine 2x minus 2. That is the final answer. Here we have to figure out which of the following can be the graph of the function. I think I'm gonna start with the period. The period is going to be 2 pi period, or I'll just call it t period, is going to be 2 pi over 4. Pi and pi is gone, 4 jumps up, so the period is 8. Well, C and D doesn't make any sense because here the period is in terms of pi. It doesn't make any sense, right? So it has to be 8. Okay, let's see if I think this is 8, right? And this is also 8. I mean, it starts from negative 4, goes to 4, starts from negative 4, goes to 4. So both are 8. They don't differ in maximum and minimum as well, but they do differ at x equal to 0. I mean, one is negative 3 and one is the other one is giving 1. So if I just replace x with 0, what number will I get? I will get negative 2 cos 0 minus 1. And cos of 0 is 1, so negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3, which is definitely option A. So that's the correct choice. Okay. Over here, we need to figure out which of the following is an expression. So let's figure out, there is no need to figure out B because it's same in all of them. So it doesn't matter. No need to figure out midline. That's also same in all of them. Amazing. In fact, amplitude is also just changing with sine here. So, well, that's pretty interesting. So I'm just going to take a number and test the points, right? But don't you think I can rule out A by the logic that this doesn't have any C, so it should, and A is positive, so it should start from the midline and go up. But this is definitely not starting from midline. This is starting from the maximum. So A is definitely not possible. Now let's plug in x as 0 and see which one is giving 1. If I plug in x as 0 in B, 0 will give 2 sine 4 times negative pi over 2 minus 1. So 2 sine negative 2 pi minus 1, and sine of negative 2 pi is 0, and 0 minus 1 is negative 1. But I need 1, so it's not B. Let's plug in 0 here. So this will become 2 cos 4 times negative pi over 4 minus 1. So it's 2 cos negative pi minus 1. Cos of negative pi is minus 1. So minus 2 minus 1 is minus 3. No, I don't need minus 3. I need 1. And here if I plug in, it will be 2 negative 2 cos 4 times negative 3 pi over 4 minus 1. Cos of negative 3 pi is negative 1, and negative 2 times negative 1 is 2, and 2 minus 1 is 1, which is definitely option D, because this is 1. Likewise over here, okay, I can definitely think of midline, and the midline is definitely negative 2, as we can see. This is midline. So the answer is not A because here the midline is positive 2. For the other things, b is same as we can see, so it's better to just plug in points. So let's plug in pi over 4 and see which one is giving us 4. Let's plug in pi over 4 here. So that's going to be 6 sine 2 times pi over 4 minus pi over 2 minus 2. So 6 sine 2 times negative pi over 4. So it will be 6 sine negative pi over 2 minus 2. And sine of negative pi over 2 is negative 1. Negative 6, this will become negative 6 and this will become negative 8. Well, that doesn't make any sense because it is definitely not negative 8 at pi over 4. So that's not it. Let's put pi over 4 here. So this will be negative sine 2 times pi over 4 minus 3 pi over 2 minus 2. So negative 6 sine pi over 4 minus 3 pi over 2 is, I think, uh, pi minus 6 is minus 5 pi, right? Minus 5 pi minus 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and cos of minus sine of negative 5 pi over 2 is what we are looking for. So that's going to be, I think, negative 1. Negative 1. So negative 6 will become 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. Yes, it is definitely 4. So this can be a strong contender. Let's try this one. So if I plug in pi over 4 here, this will become pi over 4 minus 2 pi, which is negative 7 pi over 4. And 2 times 2 is 4. Sine of negative 7 pi over 2 is 1, and 1 will become negative 6. Negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8. No, it's not negative 8. It has to be 4. So correct choice is, of course, option C. All right. A similar question here as well. Let's talk about midline. Midline is definitely y equal to 1, as we can see, because 1 to negative 3, negative 2 is 3 units here, 3 units here. So it cannot be A. It has to be in these. And let's take a point. Let's take pi over 2, I think. Pi over 2 should return 4. So I think if I plug in pi over 2 here, this will become 0. Cos 0 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. So this is returning 4. If I put pi over 2 here, this will become 0 because it's sine. Sine 0 is 0. This will return 1. No, I don't need 1. And if I plug in pi over 2 here, that's going to return pi over 2 minus 1. Pi over 2 minus 1 is negative pi over 2. And 2 times 2 and 2 is gone. Sine of negative pi is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. No, I don't need 1. I need 4. So it has to be only option B. Right, over here, I think the midlines are all negative 1. Amplitudes are matching. Well, let's find B because B is different. What is the period? Period is this, which is 4 units. So the value of B is going to be 2 pi over period, which is 4, which is pi over 2. So it's definitely not this one. Okay. Now let's put x as a value. Let's try to put x as probably, let's put 3. Okay, if I put 3 here, this will become sine of 3 pi over 2. Sine of 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. So it will become negative 2 minus 1, which is negative 3. No, I don't need negative 3. I need 1. Let's put 3 here. So 3 minus 2 is 1. This will become pi over 2. Sine of pi over 2 is 1. And 2 times 1 is 2. And 2 minus 1 is 1. Yes, I need 1. Now if I put 3 here, 3 plus 1 is 4. Pi over 2 times 4 is 2 pi. Cos of 2 pi is 1. So negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. No, I don't need negative 3. So the answer is definitely option C. Okay. Over here, let's write the coordinates of this first. So 0, 12 is here. J is, I think, 10, comma 6 and 20, comma 12 over here. Easiest is to find B, I think, because the period is from 0 to 20, which is just 20. So the b is 2 pi over 20, which is pi over 10. Then d value will be maximum, which is 12, plus minimum, which is 6 over 2. 18 over 2 is 9. So d is 9. Like I said in the earlier videos as well, although a can be positive or negative both, but feel free to take whatever you want, and according to that a, you will get c. I prefer to take a as positive, so a will be maximum, which is 12, minus minimum, which is 6 over 2, right? 12 minus 6, which is just 6 over 2, which is 3. And now I'm going to write the equation that I have so far, that y is equal to 3 sine pi over 10 t plus c plus 9. And let's plug in any maximum or minimum value to figure out the value of c. So I'm going to plug in 0, 12. So it's going to look like 12 is equal to 3 sine pi over 10, and t is just 0, so plus 9. Let's subtract 9 both the sides, and I need to make some space. We subtract 9 both the sides, then 3 is equal to 3 sine pi c over 10. Let's divide by 3 both the sides, so 1 is equal to sine of pi c over 10. When is sine 1? I mean, the easiest angle that I can think of is pi over 2. So pi c over 10 should be equal to pi over 2. These two are gone. And if I multiply 10 by both the sides, 10 over 2 is just 5. So c is 5. These are all the values. Okay, all right. Again, I'm gonna write the values of maximum, which is pi over 2 comma 6, minimum, which is pi negative 8, and here, which is 3 pi over 2 comma 6. So the period is going to be clearly this one, which is pi over 2 to 3 pi over 2, which is just pi. So the value of b is 2 pi over pi, which is just 2. And by the way, if you do not really want to calculate d, you can just look at the g coordinate, because that will automatically give you the value of the midline, g or k, right? It is negative 1. So you can just right away say that d is negative 1, right, rather than finding the d. A, like I said, that I prefer to take the um, positive value. So I'm going to take maximum minus minimum over 2. So 14 over 2 is just 7, I think. And then I need to find the value of c. So I'm going to say that y so far is 7 sine 2 times t plus c minus 1. I'm going to plug in this point to verify. Sorry, not to verify, to find the value of c. So 6 is equal to 7 sine 2 times pi over 2 plus c minus 1. Adding 1 both the sides, so 7 is equal to 7 sine 2 times pi over 2 is pi plus 2c. Dividing by 7 both the sides, then 1 is equal to sine of pi plus 2c. Sine of something is 1, which means that the something can be pi over 2. Subtracting pi both the sides, pi over 2 minus pi is negative pi over 2. And dividing by 2 both the sides is negative pi over 4. That is the value of c. Right. For here, I'm going to say that the value of f is pi 40, j is 3 pi 20, p is 5 pi 40. G is 30 here, k is 30 here, so I know that the value of d is 30. I know that the value of b is going to be 2 pi over period, and pi to 5 pi is 4 pi, right? So 2 pi over 4 pi, which is just 1 over 2. That is the value of b. What is the value of a? I'm going to take it as a positive number, so maximum minus minimum over 2. 20 over 2 is 10, so a is 10. And finally, what is the value of c? So for that, we need to make some effort. Y is equal to 10 cosine of 1 over 2 t plus c plus 30. I'm going to put pi comma 40 as my point. So 40 is equal to 10 cosine 1 over 2 pi plus c plus 30. Subtracting 30 both the sides, I will have 10 is equal to 10 cosine half of pi plus c, pi plus c, and then I'm going to divide both sides with 10. It's going to look like 1 is equal to cos of 1 over 2 pi plus c. And when is cos 1? Well, the easiest number that I can think of is when it is 0. So 1 over 2 pi plus c should be 0, which means that pi plus c should be 0, which means that c should be negative pi, right? Right, how's the last one? Again, the same strategy. So I'm gonna mark the coordinates first. F is 0, comma 12. P is 1 over 25. Oh my goodness, these are some gross numbers. J is 1 over 50, comma 2. And the midline is G and K, which is 7. So D is 7. B is 2 pi over period, which is from 0 to 1 over 25, which is 1 over 25. 25 jumps up, so it becomes 50 pi. I'm going to consider A as positive, so that's going to be maximum value, which is 12, minus minimum value, which is 2 over 2. So 10 over 2 is 5, so A is 5. And the equation that I have so far will decide the value of C. So I have y is equal to 5 cosine 50 pi t plus c plus 7. I'm plugging 0, comma 12 to figure out c. So 12 is equal to 5 cosine 50 pi. T is just 0. So c is left plus 7. Subtracting 7 both the sides, 5 is equal to 5 cos 50 pi c. Dividing 5 both the sides, 1 is equal to cos 50 pi c. And when is cos 1? When the angle is 0. That's the easiest angle. So this should be 0, which means that c is just 0.